David Raya to Arsenal, terms fully agreed. Man United also agree full personal terms with Amrabat. He will very likely become a Manchester United player. Plus, we are going to touch on the Caicedo situation and his potential move to Chelsea. Big updates from Fabrizio Romano, the number one transfer guru. Hit the like button, subscribe. Let's go. Back to Manchester United is a deal that, in some respects, has some Man United fans stressing out. I understand it because everybody's desperate for deals to come in. There's a lot of Man United fans online who are consistently and overly negative, in my opinion. Every day is a panic. Every day there's a problem. When there's such a lack of comprehension around the market and what's important for the club to do. Now, Fabrizio has updated everybody, and you've got to understand, Fabrizio just this morning has tweeted or retweeted old tweets about Amrabat 3 to 4 times. This deal is on, active, advanced, and very close to completion, and it's been at that stage now for a couple of weeks. Now, this is where I say to football fans, you've got to sometimes learn about the market and what a manager wants. The sale of players, Donny or Fred or McTominay, Man United are trying to sell those players. Clubs are trying to haggle us down on price. We can't bring Amrabat in until they're gone. And it is partly about FFP. It is partly about keeping the wage bill under a certain amount of money. However, it's also about not having a bloated squad and creating problems. We saw what happened with Chelsea last year with a bloated squad. All the top managers in the world like to keep the numbers in and around the 23 mark. They don't like it moving to the mid to late 20s. So it's important that that is done. And that's exactly what Fabrizio has updated us with here. He says Amrabat has no doubts. He has said yes to Man United. He wants to move since first talks in June, despite rich Saudi bids. Understand he has never said he's staying or anything similar. Fake quotes that came from him yesterday that he might stay. No official bid yet. Man United will send it as soon as Fred and Donny leave. And this, what this tells me is this right now. I'm going to say it bluntly. Fabrizio, of course, has to protect his standing in the game. I'm going to say it from my interpretation. The deal is done. The deal is done. It's just a case of, listen, Fiorentina and Man United are going to have an agreement and say, look, we need to sell a few players, then we'll officially bid. The player has said yes. It's a patience game. It's a patience game. It takes longer to sell your squad when they're considered dead wood, not very good, when they've been underperforming. And United want to try and get as fair a price as possible. It will happen. Man United fans, stay relaxed. Amrabat to Man United, for me, is all but done. So relax. Now, staying with Fabrizio Romano, but of course talking here about Arsenal. Update here on David Raya. You know, Arsenal Buzz have shared this. This is from an article on Caught Offside that Fabrizio does exclusively. He says that David Raya has agreed personal terms with Arsenal. It's a long-term contract, and it's just a verbal agreement for now. Of course, nothing is signed yet, but it's always a verbal agreement before the official bid goes in. Raya wants to go to Arsenal, and Brentford have been informed of that. Arsenal wanted to create competition in that role, but again, it's not a done deal yet because it depends on the clubs. So you have to wait a bit longer before calling it a done deal. And of course, the deal between the two clubs isn't done. That's where the negotiations are. But personal terms are going to be fine. There is no problem. David Raya wants to be an Arsenal player. And as I've stated before, the Arsenal are going to publicly tell Fabrizio, and I get why they're doing it, that this isn't about replacing Ramsdale. It's about competition for the roles. Then it just comes down to your own personal opinion on which of the two goalkeepers you think is the best and which one will rise to the occasion and play. My feeling is David Raya will. That's just my thought and feeling. However, that doesn't mean I'm disregarding Aaron Ramsdale. For the next couple of seasons, Arsenal could find themselves in a situation where they have the strongest goalkeeper depth in the Premier League. They may not have the best goalkeeper, But in terms of number one and number two combined, nobody may have that level of depth. And that's a very positive thing to have, especially if you rotate for the cup competitions as well, as many of the big clubs do. This is a tremendous piece of business. And I know yesterday I did a show with Lee Gunner where he said that Arsenal haven't done what they needed to do to try and win the league. I respectfully disagree. And if Raya comes in and then one more deal, another attacking player, an Elise, a Kudus, somebody of that ilk, this Arsenal team has shown tremendous ambition, not just this summer, but over recent years, spending in and around the 700+ million pound mark for Mikel Arteta. They have given massive new contracts to their players, as opposed to saying no, offering them a pittance. And I'm talking in the context of elite level football players, not the real world. Those players in years gone by would have left and gone elsewhere. They would never have pulled off the Rice deal, never have got convinced a player like Kai Havertz to leave Chelsea and join them. It wouldn't have happened, in my personal opinion. But Arsenal are acting like the giant club they are. And this, again, people always want to banter Arsenal. And I get it's fun and you get great traction online, disrespecting Arsenal. I just can't do it. When I see good things being done by clubs, I'm going to call it out. And this is another potent move that makes them a scarier team and only improves them tremendously. So look, personal terms agreed. It will progress, and let's see what happens. Now, we are going to talk a little bit of Chelsea on the show as well, so stay with us. But I also want to update you on the situation with Rasmus Hojlund. Medical, some people have said that Fabrizio said medical was complete. I was told yesterday his medical was complete. But Fabrizio here has said that Rasmus Hojlund is back at Carrington for the final part of his medical tests after the main part completed on Tuesday. Then contracts will be signed. That deal is over the line. In case anybody didn't know, he's going to be a Manchester United player. And I'm very excited about this. Him and Amrabat joining a game changers. We've done that with a goalkeeper. What we're now adding is more steel in the center and the spine of our team. Amrabat, strong, quick, powerful, energetic, and very technically gifted. For some reason online, there is this warped narrative that has been created in the past 14 to 21 days. I'm not too sure why. Maybe it's because he's connected to a certain club, that Amrabat is sort of a, the Moroccan version of Lee Cattermole, just like bloods, guts, thunder, crunching tackles, but nothing else. This is an absolute fabrication of the truth, which is stemmed from fear. And then you look at Rasmus Hojlund, 17 posts in 22 hours from Sky Sports, and all of them challenging why we would spend £64 million on this young talent, adding the add-ons to the deal before he even delivered. Some media outlets even going as far as calling this a £100 million deal. Lies upon falsehoods, upon mistruths the whole way. This kid, yes, 9 league goals last year, 15 goals in all competitions, but nobody's talking about the minutes that he played. No one's talking about the starts that he had and how he was bled into the season and how he was getting better and better over the course of the campaign. Nobody's talking about his hold-up play, his link-up play, his first touch, his ability to carve out goal-scoring opportunities. We know there is an element of rawness and an area to be developed within him. But literally 1 hour's research into Rasmus Hojlund, you can understand why Man United are willing to spend £64 million on one of the best young striker talents in European football. And I believe he's going to have a very big year this year for United. I think he'll score a fair number of goals, and he will turn out to be a very good signing. Him and Amrabat together almost completes our summer, and I'm very, very excited indeed. Now, I want to speak about the situation with Caicedo. And the reason I want to talk about it, Simon Phillips shared this. This again comes from an update from Fabrizio Romano on the transfer zone. He says that Chelsea are negotiating separately with Brighton for Moises Caicedo and Robert Sanchez, but there is a possibility to agree a total package by putting players in the same deal. Now, they're quite rare, like swap deals, combined deals for players, but obviously Chelsea and Brighton have been talking for a long, long time now. And last night, Caicedo reportedly, and I'm only going by what big Brighton accounts shared on social media. I haven't heard it personally myself, that Caicedo has told people at an event with Brighton that he wants to leave and he wants to go. Levi Colwell signing a new deal, I think, is significant. I don't actually believe there's another profile out there in European football, world football, where you can get a player as young, as gifted, as brilliant, as technically proficient, and as physically strong and quick as Moises Caicedo. Chelsea are going all in for this deal, 110%. And they have to. They have to. They've got to get this deal done and over the line. They would love him before the start of the new season, which is just over 1 week away. Very, very important for them indeed. The negotiations are ongoing. And what's really interesting is a lot of journalists in the last few days spoke about Chelsea pulling away. Chelsea pulling away. We've discussed this on the Top Six show. We've discussed this on the on Straight Facts with Lee Gunner yesterday. But of course, I want to be balanced. Fabrizio has continued to push that the negotiations are still on, that the deal is still active, and very much in a position where it can complete. And I think that's music to the ears of Chelsea fans. And I know they'll trust Fabrizio above 99.9% of other journalists. And I think what you can couple in with that is David Ornstein has said nothing, which means, in my opinion, it is still on. That doesn't mean I won't report on what other journalists have said, because the idea is to give you the full picture of what is being said across the entire market so you can make up your own minds, so we can discuss it. But I think Chelsea are still pushing hard. I think Chelsea will get this deal done, probably for that 90 to 95 million pound mark. Sanchez as a backup goalkeeper as well. They still need a little bit more, Chelsea. And I know ideally they would like him sooner, but it's better late than never. And I believe they'll get this done. But as ever, my people, I want your opinions. I want to know what you think about all the transfer we've spoken about today. Leave your comments below. Make sure you're subscribing to the Terrace and you've turned bell notifications on. Show with Big Steve at 3:30 today. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. See you soon.